I never wanted to buy into the tinfoil hat conspiracy theory BS that the lunatic fringe espouses on a regular basis to try and attach meaning to what they're seeing when they disagree with it, right? So what they do is they chalk everything up to a vast conspiracy, and those that traffic and peddle in conspiracy theories are usually stupid, and so I don't give them a lot of time because I won't suffer fools. But what they did by going ahead and lending credence to those conspiracies now is create a situation that's untenable. I mean, for every insane thing you've ever heard, for every conspiracy theory you've ever heard was lent credence to in the world of sports.
Not just lending credence to, Jeff, validated. There's no way you can explain. There's no way you can explain how Dan Orlovsky and McElroy could completely do 180s.
Correct.
Completely do 180s in the last couple of days when they got their directive. And you go back to the stupid ass narrative from Kirk and those guys before Jordan even got hurt.
Yeah.
And then the way they celebrated when Alabama won that game. I mean, this is not tinfoil. They've told us what they're going to do. They're going to do whatever the hell they want to do to get the SEC in.
And that's a point I made yesterday on the show too, which was that, hey, at least it's now out in the open, man. I said, It's just like a racist. I'd rather just know you're a racist so I can avoid you. And I know you're not credible. And I know you're a bad person. And I know you're walking around with hate in your heart. I hate the people who pretend like we're friends and that you're kind and righteous and have character and then turn around and, are bigoted. Now we know what ESPN is. Now we know for sure. There's no longer any, there's no gray area here. They're carrying water and they have financial stakes in doing so for the SEC. That's what they're doing. Every time I heard that from the fan base in the past, I'd be like, well, come on, man. It's a guy who disagrees with you about your team. Right. It doesn't mean that he's devoid of character. It means he disagrees with you. Now, sorry, I was wrong. They clearly have decided to side with their financial partners that have a greater financial stake than they do in the ACC by far.
And it's not necessarily, although some people might disagree, I don't know that it's an anti-FSU bias. It's just a pro-SEC bias at all costs. That's the difference in the conspiracies. I don't think ESPN's necessarily been out to get Florida State for 30 years.
Correct.
It was just that Florida State was in the crosshairs because Alabama needed to get somewhere, so they gunned them down. And I'll go back to what Ira said. When the selection show started on Sunday, and I haven't watched one of those. I don't think I even watched it in 14. I've never watched one of those. When I heard McElroy say, look, it's got to be Alabama. Alabama, if we're doing the four best, it's got to be Alabama. I'm like, uh-oh, because he had not been that guy all year. He had been the guy that had been holding steady, saying, no, if you're the top four, if you're undefeated, you're in. And then all of a sudden, 20 minutes before the reveal, he's saying something else. I'm like, okay, well, somebody got to him. And maybe, I'm just throwing this out there. Maybe he did legitimately change his mind on his own without being told to. It looks so horrendous, you can't do that because he's so adamant. So is Orlovsky. They were adamant like Booker McFarland was adamant 5 days ago, a week ago, 2 days ago. The wins mattered more than anything. And then all of a sudden, nope, you got a backup quarterback, you can't compete. It's just, that's what's so disingenuous about it. At least Kirk, you know where he stood from the start. He didn't want Florida State in. And, it's the tail wagging the dog. I brought this up on Warchant on Wake Up. Do y'all remember that the scandal from it came out years after the Iraq War, but it was about all those retired military officials that would go on those shows on MSNBC and CNN and Fox and talk about why it would be a good idea to do this, to go into war. Right. And they're supposed to be speaking independently, but they do these records requests and find all these emails and text messages from the administration to these people telling them the talking points to get America on board to go to war. And obviously, this is a football show. It's not a war show. It's not nearly as important. I get it. But the point remains, people that are supposed to be independent thinkers, that are just telling you their personal opinions, are being directed by the people that are pulling the strings. And that's what was so infuriating and enlightening, I guess, on Sunday.
Ira, doesn't it make you I think we're talking to a bigger issue here, though, that doesn't even involve Florida State. It's the ruination of a sport we loved. It's the lack of integrity. Listen, we understand we're not naive children. We're grown-ups. We work in the industry. We see things all the times to make you recoil and find it, that isn't on the up and up and that it is troublesome. So it's never been all roses. But that said, you thought that the games mattered. You thought that ultimately, no matter what all the other stuff behind the scenes is, and it can be ugly, the games still ultimately mattered. And that's how you could say, look, I'll deal with this. I'll deal with the underbelly, the seedy underbelly of the college basketball world, the college football world, whatever it might be, because ultimately the games are going to get played. Somebody's going to win them. Somebody's going to lose them, and they're going to matter. Man, Sunday kind of makes it hard to care about college football. And nobody likes to say that out loud. We make our living in this sport, so it affects us financially, but it also affects us emotionally because we all grew up die-hard college football fans. We love the sport, or we wouldn't even be doing this. And they attacked it.
I got a phone call Sunday night from a media member that covers another team that I mean, it's not like he hates Florida State, but he doesn't care about Florida State at all.
Was it fine, Bob?
No, I was like, I think he was calling me to like counsel him. Like he was sad. Because we all love the sport.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking.
And you just want to, this wasn't a situation where I get how we got to this place where we're giving a committee the right to choose between this 10-1 team or 11-1 team, that 11-1 team, or, whatever, apples to apples. We got to pick somebody. We can't let everybody in. But to take two teams that each lost games and were not like incredibly dominant the rest of the season. They had like ugly moments, and it put them over a team that, despite anything that happened, won every freaking game. I mean, it's appalling. And it was not, the only nice thing about it is that it was cool to see. I mean, everybody came bitched about this on Monday. I mean, from the Lebertard show, those are Miami guys, to people. I mean, just anywhere you went, NFL people, NBA people. Jermaine Johnson's at a press conference with the Jets. He's going on a rant about it. This is universally panned. Everybody is ripped it. So for and then ESPN Heather Dennis puts out her story where the committee members were so broken up. They couldn't believe they had to do this. It was so hard to do.
Yeah, nonsense.
Well, then what the hell did you do it for? Everybody knows it was the wrong decision.
They felt bad. Well, we got to go to break. They felt bad because they knew what they were doing is a crime. The games matter, man. Right. The games matter. And the reason that non-Florida State fans, and why a Clemson fan, a Miami fan, a Michigan, any fan of anybody, one of my buddies is a Bull Gator, lifelong Gator, called me and said, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. This is so wrong. I know that's chiding to you right now, and you don't want to hear it from me. But in the spirit of competition, I can't believe what I just witnessed. That is the sentiment of the vast majority of people who actually care what it means to compete and the sacrifices that are made by student athletes and coaches and fans financially. I mean, we all want to believe the games are on the up and up. This is why, man, this is going to have more football fans run into the arms of the NFL than ever before, because they do decide it on the field. You can hate everything you want about the NFL, but there's going to be a playoff, and those teams are going to play. And you know what? We all know the 18-0 New England Patriots were better than the Giants, but they played the Super Bowl anyhow, and the Giants beat them. And that's the way it works. So those games get decided, and a champion is crowned because of it. It's not a committee of dumbasses carrying water for a league who has financial – I mean, that whole thing – reeks. It flies in the face of why we play. It makes it very, very difficult. And I don't know that college football is going to be the same moving forward. Well, I'm pretty sure it won't be.
Well, again, what you can come back to is, next year it won't be a problem.
Yeah,
you'll be arguing about the 13th team instead of the 12th team.
And that matters, Corey. But that matters. You're right. 13 is not nearly as passionately argued about as 5 or 4. I got you. But what I would tell you is that if I think the fix is in, and there are 10 Big Ten and SEC teams in a 12-team playoff.
I'm with you. And I don't even care about that. I don't care if they get it, if they're completely fair and accurate from here on out. The 2023 Florida State team got screwed. I don't care if the 2024 Florida State team gets in with a 7-5 record to make up for it. The 2023 team deserved a chance, earned a chance to go try to play for a national championship, and it got taken away. So effing Nick Saban can go chase another one.